Whether live on stage or in a nice pre-recorded video, video game executives love to don their favourite game t-shirt and blaze a combo for the chance to showcase all the shiny new games their companies are planning to release. For fans of gaming, this is all very exciting, as we find out and learn about what digital adventures we will be embarking on in the nearish future, other than another extended social media doomscroll. But having watched these showcases as a fan, and more recently as someone within the industry whose job it is to talk about these games, I have developed a list of telltale warning signs that make me very hesitant to jump on the hype train. And if there's one thing we love on this channel, it's a list. So please sit back and take heed of my biggest red flags when it comes to video game announcements, reveals, and the like. When I was a kid, I dreamed of open world games where I could explore and just do whatever for hours and hours on end. Due to the limited power and memory of old games machines, there weren't a huge number of games like this when I was younger, but there was the occasional open world gem. Some of my fondest gaming memories are playing Midtown Madness 2's free roam mode and hooning around San Francisco. Later I did the same in San Andreas' fictional version of San Francisco, San Fierro. And when, years later, I got to go down the famously curvy Lombard Street IRL, I had those precious open world gaming memories at the forefront of my mind. As an adult, I can't move for open world games. Publishers and developers realised there were many players like me clamouring for more sandbox-style go-where-you-want adventures. And so, as technology progressed, more and more games invited you to freely wander wide open spaces. Some proved to be quite popular. Yes! Woo! As a result, we've witnessed the trend of open-world games, often with RPG elements, becoming almost the default in certain quarters. Take any Ubisoft AAA title, for instance. Even previously definitively linear franchises like Sonic have entered the chat, and the results of this trend of ubiquitous open-world adventures have been mixed, to say the least. Nevertheless, these days publishers promoting their upcoming game love to shout about just how big its explorable world is going to be. Whether they're introducing a new IP or letting us know about an already open world series getting a sequel, these game makers desperately want players to know it'll be really far from one side of the map to the other, especially if it's further than the last game they made.
Fallout 76 is a prequel to all the other games, and it's our biggest one yet. It is 4 times the size of Fallout 4.
To which my question is, but what's in it? Over the years, too many games have launched with huge open worlds that are either barren wastelands of minimal content or filled with tedious busy work.
Save the screen shine for something special.
Filling a playable expanse with a sufficient quantity of interesting authored content is evidently hard, and I've been burned so many times that I give precisely zero shits about the size of a map until I know what will actually be on said map. As much as I love roaming around games, I don't want to spend 20 minutes slogging my way from one side of seamless space to the other just to get to the next mission, especially if it's boring. Let's just say not all video game horses are created equal. Looking at you, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And even if you can skip that, not all fast travel systems are as seamless as Spider-Man 2. I want a concise, well-designed world that intuitively guides me to new and interesting places, people, and quests. I don't want another huge world that's impossible to find my way around without checking the map 20 times, filled with the same handful of collectibles, enemy encampments, and fetch quests, scattered randomly over it like someone blindfolded themselves and threw darts at the map. Just say it's all well and good boasting about how big it is, but it's what you do with it that counts. Speaking of big, publishers love to bring out big Hollywood superstar names during a significant reveal moment. Just remember when Tom Clancy Ghost Recon Breakpoint wheeled out Daredevil's frenemy John Bernthal to show off new gameplay with his adorable dog.
Hey, I'm John. Good to be here. This is Bam Bam the dog. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Aww. Then then, a few months later, everyone finally got their hands on another Gennaro Ubisoft open world game full of enemy encampments and bugs. Oh. Bernthal's performance as Big Bad Lieutenant Walker could not save Breakpoint from middling reviews, and many joked that perhaps he was the lion's share of the budget rather than it being spent on, you know, how the game actually plays. Similarly, during Cyberpunk 2077's 2019 E3 demo, after revealing that he was going to be in the game, CD Projekt Red rolled out everyone's favourite Keanu Reeves, to talk about the game and reveal the, at least initial, release date.
You're breathtaking. You're all breathtaking.
Oh my gosh, stop! No, please continue. But as excited as we all were to hang out with a digital Keanu, a few years later we actually got our hands on Cyberpunk 2077 and we discovered that it had all gone tits up.
Let's have a look in the mirror. Let's see what we look like. Oh gosh, you had to turn on a minute. Ah!
Or in my playthrough's case, tits out. As great as Keanu's performance was as Johnny Silverhand, it couldn't hide the myriad issues with the game at launch.
Yeah, I know. I just wanna park it nice. Oh, that person disappeared.
So now I raise an eyebrow to any game that relies too heavily on wheeling out Hollywood actors onto a big stage for a big star moment. As exciting as it is to see someone at these events that your mum's actually heard of. A Hollywood name is fun, sure, but it doesn't guarantee a good game, and as shown by games like the award-laden Baldur's Gate 3, using lesser-known actors is far from detrimental to the quality of a title. Baldur's Gate 3 is chock full of excellent acting talent, voicing our NPC besties and worsties. Sorry, Gale. The cast may be less well known than the Hollywood stars publishers love to trot out, but these pros helped create an incredibly believable world, even though it's full of mind-reading monsters with squid faces. Plus, now we've spent hundreds of hours listening to these game-voicing thespians, we're all totally obsessed with them.
There now. We're all friends again.
Back in the day, when you bought a game, you got the game. That was it. Pop the disc in, you're good to go ahead and play a complete, finished video game. Good times. Nowadays, when you buy certain titles, you're merely buying the introduction to the game, and the publishers swear that they will gradually drip feed you the rest of it in the months after release.
Marvel's Avengers delivers a narrative over multiple years, with exciting new content released at a regular basis.
But I want the narrative when I buy the game. So many upcoming titles look intriguing, only for the words post-launch roadmap or similar to pop up and entirely dissolve my interest, as I discover that, oh no, this is a live service game. Live service games aren't inherently bad, but here on Outside Xtra we've made multiple videos about the slew of them that have been launched in the last 10 years, only to sink quicker than the Titanic if it had been filled with concrete. Because of this graveyard of games, I'm no longer excited when publishers boldly flaunt future post-release plans. Especially if it's at some flashy conference months before the game is even out. The problem I have with this model is that any successful roadmap is entirely dependent on two things. Firstly, the stability of its game upon release. We've seen titles like the previously mentioned Ghost Recon Breakpoint require apologies and hefty remedial patches post-launch, pushing back the roadmaps that it had initially intended to follow. Basically, you're not going to get that fun new content on schedule if the publisher rolls out the game equivalent of Fire Festival, i.e. messy, overpriced, and far from feature complete. For two, as shown by the previously mentioned rotting pile of Dead Life service titles, no publisher in this day and age can guarantee their supposedly evolving game will be popular enough for long enough for it to actually, well, evolve, even if it does work when it comes out. Whenever a game promises constant updates before we've even got our hands on it, alarm bells just start to ring in my head. I see a development team already split between working on a bare bones release and the planned top-up coming out a few weeks later. I don't want to buy a shell of a game with the promise of more game months down the line that a publisher can't actually guarantee, so don't wave it in front of us like a carrot on a stick in trailer drops and gameplay reveals. Make sure you actually have the carrot first. Or better yet, make it a chocolate bar or something we actually want. Ever since Bethesda realised they could charge people extra money for shiny armour to put on their horse, publishers have looked for any way to get customers to dip even further into their pockets for extra bits of video game. Gradually, microtransactions have seeped into more and more full-price games, and it absolutely sucks to boot up a new game on which you've just spent a chunk of your hard-earned cash, only for it to try and shake you down for more by ushering into their in-game store to buy more. Wait, is that? More horse armour? Oh well, at least you get the OG Oblivion horse armour for free in the remake. Wait, is that? There's new horse armour if you pay extra for the deluxe edition. Bethesda, you've literally done it again. Ponying up for your pony may be annoying, but even worse are the games that slow down a player's progress, then pump the in-game store full of pay-to-win things like extra XP, time-saving boosts, and higher-powered gear to try and avoid the grind. Or when games hide items within loot boxes so that you have no idea if you'll actually get what you want when you fork over your hard-earned cash, or just end up with a bundle of bullshit. Some astute companies have noticed how these things annoy a lot of people more than paid-for cosmetics. So occasionally, when a game is announced or has a gameplay reveal, game makers will simultaneously announce that, hey, the way this game does microtransactions is actually cool and fine, so don't even worry about it.
We're not doing any of that free-to-play junk. There's not going to be any microtransactions. There's not going to be any of that nonsense.
To that I say, do you want a cookie? Making a song and dance about not putting the wrong kind of microtransactions in your game completely misses the point that in most people's experience, in a full-priced game, any microtransaction is the wrong kind of microtransaction.
So our promise to the community is that we won't have random loot boxes or pay-to-win scenarios.
Yeah.
But these self-congratulatory pats on the back are also huge red flags for me, because so often, after the game is finally out, they just go ahead and sneak in a bunch of pay-to-win microtransactions anyway, big old liars, or they drop a bunch of day one DLC on gaming stores that could have just been included in the actual game.
Damn it, they played us.
It just sucks to find out you've been hoodwinked, or to buy a game on launch day and then discover that a costume you desperately want will cost you nearly 1/10 of the cost of the entire game. Back in my day, all costumes used to be unlockable in-game! For free! As much as Hideo Kojima thinks otherwise, most people play games to play games rather than watch a movie. Oh, I'm out of popcorn. Again. More aggravating than that, though, are the game reveals where they forget to reveal the, actual gameplay and show you a cool movie that, in the fullness of time, turns out to be only minimally representative. This isn't to say I don't enjoy seeing a good cinematic, something that introduces me to the characters with whom I will be spending hours of my time, and the story, which will be unfolding throughout those hours.
You cover your face, but I know who you are. Emily Caldwin.
However, if your reveal reveals nothing other than some moody scene setting, then I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to wait to wishlist this one.
Gunners, here we go.
I don't want to get all revved up for a mystery title, only to find out it's a turn-based RPG, which, while plenty of people love that stuff, is not usually my particular cup of tea. A game is by definition an interactive experience, so I need to know something about how I'll be interacting with these characters and these worlds. So get some clips of that into your trailer please, or even better, straight up make that reveal trailer a gameplay trailer. Mario Kart World might cost as much as a tank of actual petroleum gas, but we at least know what we're getting. Yeah, that's right. A cow. A really good cow. Beautifully rendered cinematics may look fancy, but some give us minimal context for how the game might feel to play, or even, in some cases, how it's going to look. For instance, if it's a remastered game, you'd best show us if the game looks any better than it did previously, rather than putting out a deluxe cinematic trailer to hide the fact that it looks the same, if not worse, than it did when it first came out. Am I still mad about that? Yes. Yes, I am. Although it's important to show us gameplay along the way to launching a game, it is also important to show us, what's the word? Real gameplay. Here, I'm not even talking about the gameplay demos that looked way better than the final product. For those, we don't realise the gameplay is fake until the game is actually out and it looks like, well, Aliens Colonial Marines.
Shoot that thing!
Nor am I talking about the terrible mobile adverts where some random influencer is talking over gameplay footage that was clearly emailed to their agent by the publisher.
Wait, now we have these big beefers coming? When does it end?
Oh, these fake boy gamers. What I'm actually referring to is gameplay that is less obviously and profoundly fake, but still easy to spot once you know what to look out for, which is a highly scripted gameplay demo with scripted multiplayer chat.
Okay, you lead the way.
Alright, looks like these other guys are coming with us.
Sometimes in a gameplay reveal for a multiplayer game, the gameplay presentation will include some live chat where the players have so much vocal fry they could use it to cook a full English breakfast.
I'm not sure we want to use all our supplies on this guy.
Yeah, he seems like a problem for another day.
It may not be clear whether these people are members of the dev team doing a thoroughly rehearsed run-through, or, as I suspect, actors simply talking over gameplay given to them by the team, but I do know for certain that no one in multiplayer actually talks like this.
Sorry guys, we're losing a hostage. Oh man, don't worry about it.
In a real game, they would encourage him to worry about it, with a lot of swear words. I can understand why this is done. Publishers want cool-sounding voices with slick commentary so that their games seem cool and slick by association. So sure, have your players talking to each other like they're the well-trained operatives they are pretending to be, even if my friends and I will never sound even a little bit like this.
Drum down. Oh, there goes his armor. Ah! You're on your own. Keep going. Good job.
Yet this needs more panic screaming for the true experience. But these clearly scripted multiplayer reveals will hide or flatter the game's imperfections. For example, in Anthem's case, the multiplayer chat-filled gameplay demo implied that this was a smooth, working multiplayer title.
Alright, let's do this.
See you on the other side.
In due course, it became clear that this demo was not representative on account of Anthem not being a smooth, working multiplayer title upon release.
Have you been in there yet?
I haven't. Oh, we should do that later with Kim.
Yeah, you could use the XP.
Yeah, that XP's worthless now, mate. I would much sooner have the rougher and readier actual Let's Play vibes of the Sea of Thieves gameplay reveal from 2016 that, rather than having the polished rapport of rehearsed and directed players, showed what it's actually like playing this game with friends.
Okay, so the sail's blocking my vision, so you're gonna need to tell me where to steer.
I'm looking at the water, Chad. Shut up.
Guys,
We gotta get up! Go to the boat, go to the boat.
Oh my god!
Ah, the true Sea of Thieves experience. If an upcoming game manages to clear all the previous hurdles in this list, there is but a single remaining pitfall that it must avoid. What? It's my assault course, and I say we have both hurdles and pitfalls. Anyway, the final red flag is that of the extremely vague and dubious release date. Many games have revealed themselves with the vaguest of windows for when they will be available, like a year or simply a coming soon.
I'm going to get you out of there.
Is coming soon relative to this year? This decade? On a cosmic scale, Halley's Comet is coming soon. In 2061. With the complex, tortuous process that is modern AAA game development, an extremely vague release date gives game companies nearly endless wiggle room to push their release date right to the end of an excessively large release window, and yet still somehow end up crunching the developers into a fine powder along the way. I get that delays are sometimes beyond a developer's control, but don't get me started on how I think that's actually more likely to happen with a large, flexible release window because companies are tempted to add more and more to their games, thinking, hey, we can just launch at the end of that window. Of course, a game will sometimes just go ahead and miss that window. Case in point, GTA 6, which was initially coming in 2025 and then targeting late 2025, only to finally settle on a release date of the 26th of May 2026. If it doesn't slip again, I'm just saying, it better be good. Furthermore, I just don't have the energy or stamina to get excited for a game that won't be out for at least a decade. Not naming any names. Elder Scrolls 6. When a game is ready to drop a proper release date, it means the makers feel somewhat confident enough that that game will be ready. If that date gets postponed, then, well, let's just say I'm not rushing to pre-order. So those are the red flags that I have for any kind of game reveal, whether that be trailer, release date, etc. Can't trust that release date. What red flags do you have? Is there something that dampens your excitement whenever you see it in one of these things? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, let me know with a like, subscribe if you haven't already to see more videos like this, and you can check out our Patreon if you want to support us even further. But in the meantime, take care, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.